Today is the Obama administration's deadline to improve healthcare.com, and while the program's problems are evident, very evident, the press has been showing their support with positive news coverage. And now the New York Times' Paul Krugman, a reliable White House lapdog, is comparing the Obamacare scandal to Benghazi. He wrote this in his column: conservatives are operating on the assumption that it's an irredeemable disaster that they can ride all the way to 2016, but the facts on the ground are getting better by the day. And Obamacare will turn into a Benghazi-type affair where Republicans are screaming about a scandal nobody else cares about. End quote. Here to react is the founder and president of Big Government, our old friend Seton Motley. Seton, thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
It's less government, not big government.
Less government. And so I guess the point here is, well, twofold. One, Krugman is suggesting that Benghazi is not a real scandal, but going on to say that in 3 years from now, Obamacare will actually be a help to the president and not something that's going to hurt Democrats. You buy that?
Well, they have to say that because the man in charge, President Obama, is not backing down, so they can't back down. It's very difficult to imagine 5 to 6 million people or policyholders, let's be clear about that, getting home from their day at work, likely shortened by Obamacare, opening their mail over their kitchen counter, getting a cancellation letter, and then sitting down to the NBC Nightly News and having Brian Williams tell them, hey, Obamacare's fantastic. This is the best direct mail campaign that any conservative or Republican campaign could come up with. It's all of these millions of cancellation letters. And remember, they're phoning up numbers on their side where they're counting Medicaid sign-ups as wins. Every canceled policy is just a policy. If it's a family of 4, that's 4 people damaged by Obamacare's one cancellation. So this, unlike Benghazi, which is a real scandal, don't get me wrong, I'm going to mention these only as a way of comparison the way they are. It was vitally important to the 4 dead Americans. It's vitally important to our national security. It's vitally important to the families of the 4 Americans. But it doesn't reach the broader audience, unfortunately.
No, I think it's an entirely fair point. Now,
and Fast and Furious, Brian Terry's family is damaged. We should care about it, but we don't because it doesn't affect us directly the way coming home and getting that cancellation letter does.
So there's a theme here with this Krugman column. Krugman has been a very reliable water carrier for the Obama administration.
Does his back hurt yet?
And for Democrats in general. But you see this pattern where the White House faces some kind of scandal of its own making and then immediately rallies the troops by having meetings with left-wing media figures. There's been a ton of them. I think we can put some of these meetings up on the screen. November 21st, 2003, in response to Obamacare. June of 2003, in response to the NSA scandal. May 2003, in response to the AP and James Rosen spying scandals. December 2012, in response to the Bush tax cut fight. When they have a problem, they take their message to their supporters in the media, and there are many. Will this continue to work?
Yeah, there was a little spiral notebook in the green room here that said Stenopad, and I imagine an outside journalist that covers the White House had been here because there's the stenographer pool. They're not a reporting pool. And yeah, this is going to work less and less because in 2009 when they were doing it, hope and change was just gassy rhetoric. There was no meat on the bones yet. We're now 5 years into meat on the bones, and it's getting the accumulative effect of Benghazi and Fast and Furious and IRS and James Rosen. That's starting to seep out beyond those of us who are sick and watch us do this every day. Combine that fact with, again, 5 million policyholders and families getting letters saying you're out of your insurance that you've had for 5, 10, 12 years. But it's just a coincidence that it's Obamacare year, according to the administration.
It's a little hard to blame Bush for that, for sure.
If you've had your policy since before the Bush administration, and then all of a sudden it's canceled, probably not Bush's fault.
Probably not Bush. Seton Motley, founder of Less Government. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, sir.